On March 30th, 1970, arguably the greatest racing horse of all time was born, known as Big Red until he got his official name as Secretariat. Here's the story behind the horse that captivated a nation and even led to his own movie 40 years later. Today we could dive into Secretariat on Daily Sports History. Welcome to Daily Sports History. I'm Ethan Reese, your guide to a rapid deep dive into sports history every day. Now, horse racing has been popular ever since we've been able to tame and ride horses. So going back pre the founding of the United States, horse racing was popular. And anytime a horse won a race, they demanded more value, especially after they retired and went into breeding. And how Secretariat was born was through this process. His father was Bold Ruler, who's an American Hall of Fame racehorse and winner of one of the Triple Crown races, the Preakness Stakes. And his mother, Something Royal, was also a thoroughbred racehorse, with many other thoroughbred racehorses in their lineage ahead of them. And interestingly, there was actually two horse owners that had the rights to the offspring that Bold Ruler would have. And they settled on a coin flip who would have the first pick of the first two horses that he would bear. And Christopher Channery lost the right for the first pick and would get the second horse. The first horse was born in 1969 and was named the Bride, who never won the race. But the second horse was born in 1970 on March 30th and given to Christopher Channery in his Meadow stables. And he was a bright red chestnut colt. The manager of the stables, Howard Gentry, said he was the most perfect foal he had ever delivered. And it is said that Secretariat may have been the most perfect racehorse ever. He grew massive, standing at 16.2 hands, which is roughly 66 inches when he was full grown. And his composition and biochemistry made his stride nearly perfect. And he's still 2 inches taller than the average racehorse. Many racing experts say there were no major flaws, which made it less likely he would be injured, and he could maximize his power. So the Meadow stables started getting him ready for racing in his second year, in his 2-year-old season. At first he was awkward and clumsy, and he would often be outran by his peers. Even some of his exercise riders called him a big fat sucker, saying he was big and in no hurry to do anything. But they did say there was a lot of power that just needed to be unleashed. And his first race happened on July 4th, 1972, at the Aqueduct Racetrack in New York. But he was only a lukewarm favorite at 3-1 given his lineage. At the start of the race, a horse named Quebec cut in front of the field, causing a chain reaction resulting in Secretariat being bumped hard. So much that if Secretariat wasn't so strong, the jockey would have fell off. And he recovered and was only beaten by 1 1/4 lengths. So arguably the greatest racehorse did not win his first race. And this actually led to most of his races him starting slow in order to not get bumped in the crowd. But on the next race, being only favored 6-5, he started slow and then rushed back to win by 6 lengths. And this was a continuing trend of him continuously winning by a wide margin. And after winning multiple races, he came to the Champagne Stakes at Belmont on October 14th, and he was a 7-10 favorite. And he started off slow again, passing his rivals by 2 lengths. However, an inquiry by the racetrack disqualified him for interfering with another horse. So this was his second loss. He finished his 2-year-old season with 9 wins and 2 losses, and won the award for the top American champion male horse, and even won American Horse of the Year honors, which is rare for a 2-year-old season. But his 3-year-old season is the one that we all remember. And it's actually the one that helped save Christopher Channery and his Meadow stables as they were in financial hardship. And before his first race as a 3-year-old, he was able to sell 32 shares worth of his future breeding at $190,000 each, or a total of $6 million at the time in 1973, which is roughly over $40 million today. And this is all before he became a legend. But in his final prep for the famed Kentucky Derby at the Wood Memorial, he finished third, as the two other horses that beat him, Angle Light and Sham, had set a pretty slow pace that Secretariat went along with and didn't make a move. They later found out he had an abscess in his mouth that had caused him to not feel 100%. They later lanced this before the Kentucky Derby, and losing to those two would be the favorite at the Kentucky Derby in the following race. Now, Secretariat was helped in this Kentucky Derby by another horse named Twice a Prince, hitting the stall, causing other horses to injure themselves, including the favorite Sham, who ended up hitting his head, losing 2 teeth. But that didn't stop Sham from running a good race and being leading down the stretch, until Secretariat took over, winning by 2.5 lengths, setting a record of 1 minute and 59 seconds, a record that still stands to this day. The next was the second part of the Triple Crown, which is the Preakness. Again, Secretariat broke last in this, and made a move from last to first on the first turn, and he won by another 2.5 lengths, beating Sham again. Now was his chance to win the Triple Crown at the Belmont Stakes, and he only ran against 4 horses that day, including Sham, as it was a foregone conclusion that Secretariat was going to win, and there were almost no bets taken against him, and he was a 10-1 favorite. Many put their bets in on Secretariat just to hold the ticket as a souvenir, in front of a crowd of almost 70,000 people, the largest in attendance ever, and the race being televised by CBS in over 15 million homes, a share of over 55% of the viewership of that day. Secretariat did not disappoint. He won the race by an astounding 31 lengths, breaking the record previously of 25 lengths, a margin that doesn't even seem realistic. After this, of course, he won Horse of the Year and continued to race throughout his 3-year-old season, and even past that. And his last race was at the Canadian International Invitational, where he won his final race by 6.5 lengths, finishing his career with 16 wins and 3 losses, with over $1.3 million in earnings. He would later go on to be a stud, as his shares were already sold before his 3-year-old season, winning the Triple Crown. And he produced 1986 Horse of the Year, Lady Secret, and 1988 Preakness and Belmont winner, Rising Star, and many other racers that had talent but never won one of the Triple Crowns. Unfortunately, in 1989, Secretariat was infected with laminitis, which affects the hoof of the horse, and despite medication and treatment, he did not recover and was euthanized on October 4th at the age of 19, although they did perform an autopsy on him and noticed he was in perfect health otherwise, but may have had one of the biggest hearts they had ever seen in a horse, a condition that is known as X factor and is passed down through genetics, and likely passed on to his children as well. Secretariat will always be argued who was the greatest horse of all time, and Secretariat's name is always in that argument. Thank you for listening to Daily Sports History. If you enjoyed this, please let us know on our socials. Join us in our community, wherever you like to socialize, if it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, Threads. We try to be everywhere we can. If there's one we're missing, let us know, and we'll try to get there too for you. And come back tomorrow for more Daily Sports History.